Hey, Catalyst. I have been thinking about this episode for months. Can you guess? I am wearing one of my inner medicine bag survival items, comfortable clothing. What is an inner medicine bag, you might say? Well, it is those things that help you thrive and not just survive. These are self-care tools that help you remain as healthy and balanced as possible. And as catalysts, we are here to be self-expressive healers, challenging the current antiquated systems of delivering medical care and promising and delivering a new future that is better for all. So listen to this episode because together we will gather your own inner medicine bag and we'll talk about how this has changed historically through the years. And then stick around to the end where you can match your inner medicine bag to the archetype that you may have. Let's dig in. Welcome to The Catalyst Way, the podcast for women clinicians ready to clear the chaos and create space to flourish. I'm Dr. Lara Salyer, a former burned out family practice doctor turned mentor, author, and professional calendar whisperer. I help women in medicine reclaim time, trust their intuition, and build practices that actually fit their lives. Each week, you'll get practical tools, creative strategies, and tiny shifts that help you color outside the lines and paint a work-life masterpiece of authentic, aligned joy. Okay, let's talk medicine bags. It's fascinating to me when I did a little bit of research for this episode to learn all the different things and varieties that can be inside a healer's medicine bag. In Northern America, we're familiar with the historical significance of a medicine bag. I attended Andrew Taylor Still University, formerly known as Kirksville College of Osteopathic Medicine, and I loved walking through the hallways of the museum. I would do this on my breaks. Oftentimes, we're studying intensely, as you do in medical school. And to clear my mind, I would go walk through the museum where they would have perfectly preserved boots that AT still wore or a medicine bag that he carried. And I thought it was fascinating to see all the different tools he would use, sometimes measuring tools for anatomy or percussion hammers or, all the things that a doctor would use for physical exam. And if you think about traditional North American medicine, it has evolved, right? So through the years, you would expect to find in a medicine bag perhaps little amounts of medicine, tinctures, lotions, salves, a tongue depressor, an otoscope, a stethoscope. The medicine bag has evolved. And it got me thinking all the ways that we have our own inner medicine bag. Thinking of other cultures, right? Like in shamanism, they may have amulets, feathers, they may have plant medicine, ritual items. This is how they conduct their healing. Things like sage, tobacco, palo santo. Often these items are of important significance and sometimes private, never shown to others. It's a very important medicine bag that they carry. So as I was thinking, these bags are intended to heal others, but we all carry our own inner medicine bag. And maybe not, it's not formally a bag, but these are things that we do, whether it's habitually or ritualistically, or things that we own and carry with us that just help make the day easier. I can think back to even being in medical school. I would consider a Palm Pilot would be in my inner medicine bag for survival, right? Probably you could find at the bottom of my pockets in my white coat a few Tootsie Rolls because those urology rotations were long and sometimes those surgeries were long and I needed something for my glucose, right? Probably extra pens, pads of paper, those little laminated cards that would tell you dosages or even, CPR, basic ACLS protocols. This was in our survival inner medicine bag as a medical student, right? Perhaps you might find fidget spinners or whatever. I mean, things evolve. And then as I grew into motherhood, my inner medicine bag would contain things like photos of my kids, my babies, maybe a little edge of fabric that would be in my backpack. So I would have a locker, as residents do. You'd put your backpack in the locker, and sometimes it had a breast pump I'd have to bring out during breaks, right? And so this was in my inner medicine bag, photos of my kids, the breast pump, maybe a favorite book that I would read. It's interesting to see how our lives evolve. And then now, as a physician who's 50, my inner medicine bag contains things like a journal. I love writing in a journal. I love drawing in a journal. I love my Insight Timer app. So, of course, my cell phone would be in there with specific playlists, which I will share in my Substack. Some of my favorite creators have the most delicious voice and can guide you through amazing meditations that can completely reset your entire day and tune up that limbic system so it feels nourished and balanced. In my medicine bag now, I have other things like clay, crayons, colors, markers, highlighters. I have my favorite essential oils like Abundance from Young Living and Parasympathetic Reset from Vibrant Blue Oils. These are my favorites. No affiliation to either. What else? Oh, Spotify playlists. I have my favorite playlists. Some of them are really mellow and chill music that I know gets me in a headspace of calm. And then others are intended to be amplified and upbeat so that I get in the mood to exercise. My inner medicine bag also contains lots of natural things, whether it's plants around me, because the inner medicine bag doesn't have to be contained in a bag, but it can be things in your environment. I have a specific hand sanitizer I like. I have specific plants around me that I surround myself with. And it got me to thinking, what else do we use on a daily basis? Can you think of things that have started to been incorporated in your life and rotated into your life? These non-negotiables that if you don't have them, it feels more like survival rather than thriving. They can be as quirky as a special blanket you love to have tossed on your chair that just feels so cozy when you're sitting at the end of the day. Or maybe a favorite snack you like to have on hand. For me, in my house, we have to have hard-boiled eggs on the ready because everybody, all the kids, myself, I love hard-boiled eggs. Also, what is another favorite thing? Grapes, yeah, or turkey sticks. These are things that are sort of non-negotiable. They help us survive and thrive. Flowers outside. This is in my inner medicine bag. All of these things are so essential for me right now, and they would not have been the same as a medical student or resident. My lawn was atrocious as a resident. Thank God we had hospital housing and someone was mowing our lawn. There was no way I had time or interest to care for the precious land. And I say that with such privilege and regret because I really cherish the land now and I really enjoy nature in a different way. It is so nourishing to me. And this is important to accept ourselves in these seasons of life as they change. Your inner medicine bag will evolve and change as you will. Sometimes you might have baby rattles, baby toys in there, and then suddenly you've got your teen's driver's permit in your bag. So let's break down if you are a catalyst archetype. There's 4. Knowing your catalyst archetype will help you with this next session. So now's the time to take that quiz. And we're going to talk about what you might want to include in your inner medicine bag, depending on the archetype that you have. We're going to start with reflective river. And so for those that don't know what reflective river is, you are intuitive, empathetic, you are contemplative. You need space to feel deeply and process. And a little disclaimer here, we have all the archetypes inside us, right? We're all filled with different parts, but when you take the quiz, you will have a dominant part usually that surfaces, and this might help guide you. So if you are a reflective river, you may consider having a journal. It's just a junk journal, something you can write in. It doesn't have to be legible. It can be scribbles. It can be words that make no sense. It can be great catchphrases or a quote that you loved. Anything for emotional release can help you. You may also consider something that embodies the water element, right? Because you are a reflective river after all. Maybe a shell, a smooth stone, a little water bottle that is significant, right? even like essential oils that smells good. I would recommend also some kind of Kleenex, some kind of cloth. Us reflective rivers are highly emotional and can have a little bit of dripping of the tears. So that's why I also carry a little Visine for those times when emotions tend to leak out of your eyeballs. And think about keeping on hand a little bit of a tea ritual. My favorite is pucca tea. I love the mint and licorice tea, but chamomile, anything else that nourishes you, makes you feel warm and cozy is a great option. And finally, the mantra that I would recommend for reflective rivers is my stillness reveals deep truth. So, insight timer. Look at those meditations to see what can help you cultivate this inner calmness that really helps settle that reflective river, right? Ooh, let's take a quick breather. Do you ever feel like your brain is fried and your calendar is out of control? I get it. That's why I created the Catalyst Advantage. These are private one on one mentoring sessions where we come together and help you untangle your chaos, realign with your purpose, and build a plan that fits you. It's like coaching with strategy and intuition and a dash of neuroscience magic. I want you to flourish, and I can't wait to meet you. You can learn more at drlarasalyer.com/catalyst. Okay, next, fervent flame. If you're a fervent flame, you are likely passionate, expressive, action oriented. You don't feel really good if you're still, right? You like to be moving. You tend to burn out and overextend because doing feels good to you, right? I have a dog, Ginger, just like that. I think she's a fervent flame. She'd much rather be running, jumping, walking, chasing, barking than laying down. Although she's 11, so she's spending more of her days napping. Might be her reflective river era. So, in this case, if you are a fervent flame, you may consider holding into your bag some peppermint oil, some citrus oil for reset, right? Helps you reset that limbic system. Think of a playlist that helps you spark joy. So start looking at those songs or other artists that bring this energy to you. When you start to feel like you're fading and you do work best in motion, then create a playlist that you know will get you foot tapping, clapping, moving your body to keep that energy going. And then likewise pair it with some kind of routine that's sort of a downshift, an end of the day routine. You may consider also having a ritual of a burn paper ritual where you write down things that frustrate you, that anger you, because you're a fervent flame and you're going to have emotions and opinions and you may speak out of turn, and that's okay. So write them down and burn it in a candle. Go with that release, burn it in a bonfire. You might also find that you're flooded with ideas as a fervent flame. So you do best with having post-it notes around um, all over, right? Because you can write your ideas down, throw it on a wall. Remember, as we dump it out and when we externalize our ideas, our brain can settle better into peace. So those fervent flames do really good with those tiny mini post-it notes like this. They're tiny, discreet, and they can fit in your inner medicine bag. And also fervent flames being so physiologically oriented to action, you do really good with those fidget spinners or squeezy balls, some kind of hand item that you can squeeze and take out some of that energy to regulate yourself. And the mantra you might find beneficial is, my energy is sacred. I choose where to shine. Fervent flames have a hard time sometimes figuring out what deserves their energy. And so these tools may help you regulate and choose what to focus on today. All right, let's talk about wise wind. If you are a wise wind, you might be creative, quick thinking, a visionary. You also have lots of ideas, but you're more expansive rather than action oriented. So you struggle with that grounding and follow through. You're the idea generator, but it's very, very windy and scattered, prone to disorganization. Now, in this sense, you may benefit from your favorite organization method. It could be a pocket notebook in your inner medicine bag. It could be maybe something like a Google task list on your phone or your notes app. So you dump your ideas in there and you know that they're there in one place and retrievable. You also benefit from weight. So, having an object with weight, I'm not saying you have to carry this with you, but a heavy rock, a weighted vest as you walk, right? Maybe a small pendant that feels grounding to you. Maybe you have a favorite crystal, something that anchors your presence. You have a hard time with feeling this loftiness. So, they sell weighted stuffed animals, which are wonderful, or even weighted pouches, even just a rice bag, something that helps you feel that weight and helps you feel grounded and anchored to the earth. You may also benefit from a grounding oil, right? Cedar wood is a great example, or some kind of mist where you can help put that on your body and envelop your five senses and remind yourself to ground and to deep breathe. Use that wind to clear those spaces. Having this 3-minute movement ritual that kind of gets you moving and sort of exorcises that extra windy energy is also great. So sometimes what I like to do is a wall sit. I might stretch and get that energy out of my body and then try to focus with a wall sit just for a minute or a minute and a half. And then you might benefit from finding a deck of affirmation cards, right? Something to focus on. So pulling a card that will help you focus for the day, such as they might have suggestions, whether it's mystical or earthy or just practical. There's so many great affirmation cards that can help you focus. An example might be, I am going to do one thing at a time today. Or another affirmation might be, I am on the right track. I just need to listen to my intuition. It just gives you some kind of grounding for that day. And concluding your mantra might be something like, I slow down to hear the whisper of wisdom. Wise winds are wise, but often we can't even hear our own inner wisdom because we are just so scattered. So, taking a moment to breathe and knowing that you just have to slow down to hear your own wisdom. Okay, finally, Resolute rock. I can appreciate Resolute rocks as well. Steady, dependable, protective, right? Resolute rocks will tend to neglect themselves in service to others because they're responsible. They know how to get things done and they're very dutiful. And you can burn out that way, right? So for you, also grounding is important. Looking at grounded crystals, tokens, some kind of grounding, even bracelets. I have one here given to me by a friend which has grounding crystals. These can be known to help you ground and feel like you are weighted in a good way, right? Tethered. But resolute rocks don't need that much tethering because you're pretty resolute. You feel very rigidly on how things should go. So we can forget the lightness and joy in life. If you're a resolute rock, take something that reminds you of personal joy. Whether it's a favorite photo of a place you love to visit, whether it's a favorite scent that helps remind you of delicious warm vanilla pudding in the oven, whether it is a favorite picture of a person that you love dearly or a scrap of fabric, something that reminds you of a personal joy that isn't an obligation, because resolute rocks tend to feel personally obligated to complete tasks. So something that just is whimsical, free, and untethered that reminds you of the lightness of life. Resolute rocks do really well with a type of meditation called loving kindness because what it does is it centers you outside yourself. You are able to dig into the grounding, but then extend your energy out into loving kindness for all creatures. There are many guided loving kindness meditations on Insight Timer, and I'll be sure to tag a few in my Substack. And they're wonderful because it helps you use your creative imagination to extend this beautiful energy to animals and plants. And speaking of plants, resolute rocks really do well with signs of earth and plants around you. So, what are your favorite plants? What are your favorite colors? Explore and play with a new kind of plant and put it in your workspace and see how much you change. A dried flower or leaf can also be something that's important because it can remind you of earth if you can't be in one spot. And so let's say you're a traveling locum tenens physician and you're all over, then take it with you. Take the earth with you as a symbol of seasons and of change. Resolute rocks can struggle with seasons and change because we like predictability. We do well with structure. And so inviting yourself to play with this change often can be very, very helpful. Your mantra would be caring for me strengthens what I carry. That's a great one for a Resolute rock. Your mantra might be caring for me strengthens what I carry. Self-care is not a luxury, just like creativity is not a luxury, it's medicinal. Finding these creative ways to pack your inner medicine bag is important for longevity, not just for career happiness and satisfaction because we're in the cogwheel of American medicine, but really for work-life masterpiece. You want to be fulfilled and feel like you're making a difference in this world. And sometimes you're numb to that if you're not caring for yourself. So I'm excited to see, what do you pack in your inner medicine bag? And if you haven't taken the Catalyst Archetype quiz, please do. It'll help you focus on where you need to address some of your burnout risks and where you can play. And it will help you cultivate that inner medicine bag that can lift you and support you through your journey in medicine. Before we end each podcast episode, we have a Catalyst question. This will help you guide some reflective prompting. So I'd love to hear what your answer is. You can hashtag CatalystQ and let me know your answer to this Catalyst question. Which of these tools or something of your own belongs in your inner medicine bag right now? And what does that say about what you truly need to thrive? Let that sink in. Because here's something that I learned from my recent retreat at Liz Gilbert's Magical Freedom Weekend. Spoiler alert, if you ever go to one of her weekends, please do. And this won't spoil it because every time you go, I'm sure you'll get something new out of it. But she did this exercise that was so eye-opening. She had us list all our fears and then list what enchants us, right? What is enchanting? And this Catalyst question kind of revolves around that. What do you really need to thrive? Interestingly, it's not often something monetary. When you write a list of things that enchant you, you'll find it's filled with things like a hug from a friend, laughter from a good conversation, a warm cup of coffee, a fuzzy blanket, early bedtime, stroll in the park, whatever it is, nature. A lot of it is free. That's what we need to thrive. And so that's what this inner medicine bag is going to hopefully help you unlock some new things you can do to take better care of yourself. And you're doing that by being here. So thank you. I'm about to go and take better care of myself when I go work out. And I hope to see you next week. Keep coloring outside those lines and practicing that 6th vital sign of creativity so you can flourish too. See you next time. Thanks for listening to The Catalyst Way, where we clear the chaos and create space to flourish in medicine and life. If today's episode lit a spark in you, your next step is to go take the Catalyst Archetype quiz. It's fun, free, and freakishly accurate. Go to drlarasalyer.com/create. In less than 5 minutes, you'll uncover your burnout risk, your creative strengths, and work rhythms that energize you. Because it's not about finding a perfect plan, but rather flowing with the one that fits you. Go to drlarasalyer.com/create. And remember, teeny shifts create massive impact. So keep coloring outside those lines.